New York.
Hi everyone, my name's Roland and I'm here representing the TripMedi team from the New York Startup Bus. The TripMedi idea has been called the Yelp for medical tourism. And I'm just going to give you, first of all, a background into who I am. You might be able to tell, I'm an Australian. And I've heard about medical tourism a lot in Australia over the last couple of years because it's been becoming much more mainstream. And the reason why that's happening is because we have average waiting times in Australia for something like knee surgery of 6 months. It's very common for people who are waiting for 2 years in pain, or it's a pretty simple surgery. So more and more people have been doing medical tourism, travelling abroad to get a simple surgery, for example, in Thailand. When I moved to America, I saw that there was a very, very different problem. More than 50 million Americans don't have insurance. That's a huge number, and it leads to another shocking fact, which is that 62% of bankruptcies in America have a medically related cause. So there's clearly a big problem, and there's a lot of people that need more affordable care. But I wondered, what's the difference between the sort of care that you might get in a top US hospital to a top Indian hospital, for example? And the research that we've done indicates that the complication rates for the same procedure are basically the same. The serious complication rates are exactly the same. But when you get to the price, there's a pretty massive difference. Now, that's a lot of value. So given that, how many people are doing it? Well, it's estimated that 3 million people travelled for medical tourism last year. It's estimated that that market is worth $20 billion, and it's estimated that it's growing at 15% a year. Now, there's lots of numbers, experts have different opinions, it depends on if you count cosmetic. Deloitte, for example, thinks it's going to grow by 35% a year. They think it's 6 million people. But we've tried to take what we think is a fair representation of the numbers and the size of the opportunity. But that's a big market. So, given that's the size of the market, you'd expect that there's all sorts of cool players, right? Well, when someone looks for medical tourism now, they find some weird stuff. They find drop-down boxes with price lists, they find information that's really confusing, they find scary-looking ladies who talk to you when you don't want them to talk to you. And so that's kind of the state of the game at the moment. Now, compare that to TripMedi, which is what we built on a bus. This is a site that's organised around the patient's needs. You identify a lot of different places they can get the surgery. You benchmark everything against an American cost because how people anchor around this is really important. How far away it is from them, and then if they want to dive down, they can. And they can go into, here's the hospital, here's the surgeon, here's his accreditations or her accreditations, and here's how many times they've performed the procedure in the last year. The thing that we do that's really different, and which we're most excited about, although that stuff is really cool, is the possibility of recommendation. When people are making these decisions, they don't just want statistics, they want to hear how other people who are in the same position as them experienced it. And we believe that we can build a community around this, people who have had these surgeries and people that are getting these surgeries. So, we think there's a bunch of ways we can make money. We think that the doctors that we spoke to internationally said that 10% would be a standard referral fee, but with these sorts of surgical procedures, 20% wouldn't be unrealistic at all, and they were very interested in the project. Lead generation can be anywhere from $10 to $100, and that can be for flights or hotels or financing of the surgical procedure. Finally, we think that there's a lot of value, maybe charging people on the percent savings compared to an American average. Now think about that. They're saving potentially on a $50,000 procedure, 7%. So we think there's a willingness to pay, although we still have to figure out exactly how some of those logistics would work. So, I mean, I'm going to ask my team to stand up now. You don't really need to know everything about this team. You just need to know that we built this really, really quickly. We've got, the craft group, about.com, we've got scrappy startups, we've got fantastic designers. It's absolutely one of the best teams I've ever worked in, and I think the startup class has been a life-changing experience for that reason. So we're pretty happy with TripMedi. What do other people think? Well, we were quite proud to find that we've had 1,300 unique visits from 44 countries and 300 sign-ups. So we think that's a lot because it's medical tourism. It's not sexy, but it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and we believe this is a disruptive service that could change the way that industry is done. So I'd like to do a quick live demo now. This is the site, so let's take an example of knee replacement surgery. Before we can just quickly click through knee replacement. I can't get across to the screen, so you can see that you get this stuff.
I think it's really ambitious and it's really cool. It's going after a space that obviously is, I presume, so it'd be good if you talk about competitors, but it seems like there's a gaping hole in it. It would seem like even if there are competitors, it's a prime right opportunity and to do a lot of interesting things and have multiple players in the space. But it seems like, from a UI perspective, there was things that, I had questions about that weren't really off. That this kind of thing is a really delicate experience for people. There's their lives are hanging in the balance. This is not like, some frivolous thing. And so all of a sudden, those UI, the user experience is really fundamentally important. And just having a quick glance at some of these things, it looks pretty, but I had trouble trying to decipher it, and it's one of those things I might have to take time with. So the other thing was TripMedi. Just that is the brand. You got to change that. That's my personal opinion. I don't know about these guys, but it sounds like I don't know what. It does not sound appealing. It does not sound fun. It doesn't sound. I don't know what it is. I'd recommend changing it.
So you're a vertical search engine, have a lot of experience with those, and the big issue you run into is your customer acquisition math doesn't work, because this is a very infrequent purchase, so people will not remember your brand when they need it. And so when you try and buy them at the point at Google with AdWords, you won't be able to afford it because the guys underneath who are selling the service directly can always pay more than you can, because you don't convert 100%. So you have no virality and you have no ability to buy AdWords, so you get reduced to SEO or distribution partnerships. So what I would recommend doing is going and finding community bulletin boards of people that have already created these experiences and are heavily SEO'd, and they don't make any money, and I would buy them.
So, on that point, there are sort of threads on TripAdvisor, or people have written blogs.
It was just like $500,000 worth of golden advice in 30, 60 seconds. Like, that was fucking amazing.
Thank you. Someone got that. So we think those sites exist to an extent at the moment. They're all fragmented everywhere, and that's absolutely what we should do.
It's basically the home away strategy. Think about it.
Thank you. So like home away and like some other things, how do you get the data? So you said Expedia, I think at the beginning. Expedia, there's a data feed that exists. How do you get all of this data, including the pricing information?
Yeah, okay. So in terms of the user-generated content, we're confident that we've already had so much interest that you'll be able to get user-generated content. As you get more user-generated content, you create a community, you get more customers, and you have that network effect. In terms of the hospitals, a lot of the best hospitals already provide this information as a promotional mechanism, because the mature industries in India and Thailand want to advertise their success rates, and they're quite happy to link up with airlines. Other people want to move into this market, and there are a lot of countries that do. Governments are sponsoring data to be released, so they become the medical transport hub. South Korea has recently flown people from New Zealand over to do that kind of promotion.
And so are there brokers in the space? Is that an emerging market?
There are definitely some providers in the market. They're not like all badly designed, but they tend to take much more of a travel agent model where they facilitate everything for you, which is compelling, but it doesn't allow the patient to have as much choice, and there's obviously a big premium they charge for that sort of thing, so it's more expensive.
Yeah, I think you could do a listings business here, like HomeAway, and you get SEO juice if you do it right by having that link to you. It could be a good idea.
Thank you.
I just want to commend you for trying to do something that could actually save people's lives. Like,
Thank you.
I really liked the charts and graphics you did, like that immediately got everybody's attention right away. Like that was just good visual presentation. I'm not sure like where the fuck that's going, but there's a lot of money interesting there. So I would say dive in, find the business, and probably make something somewhere.
Thank you.
Just awesome quality overall. You guys fucking rocked it. Wow.
But the real point isn't really the startups, it's the people. And something that we want to recognize, and I might get Justin or Brandon to come up here. The thing is, it is a really high caliber group of people, and something that happened on the bus is it's entirely organized by the people involved in it. An example is that we built this stock market game to create viral marketing of the entire concept. All that traffic